When measuring an angle, sometimes that measure contains a fraction of a degree, meaning that the measure of an angle may not always land on a whole number, it might also include some fraction of a degree. When this is the case, we could represent this angle using the decimal degree notation, but we could also represent that fraction of a degree using degree minute second notation. And as the name would imply, there are similarities to how time is measured. 1 degree can be split up into 60 parts, known as minutes, so there are 60 minutes in 1 degree. The degree symbol is used to indicate that we have degrees, and this little tick mark like this, 1 tick mark, is the symbol that's used for minutes. So there are 60 minutes in 1 degree. Let's consider this very small angle to have a measure that is 1 degree, but we could also call the measure of that angle 60 minutes. Since these are two ways of measuring the same angle, we can create two well-chosen ones out of this scenario. 1 degree is the same measure as 60 minutes, but also 60 minutes is the same measure as 1 degree. So we could use either one of these as a well-chosen one, and we would choose whichever is appropriate to convert from degrees to minutes or from minutes to degrees. Similarly, 1 minute can be split up into 60 seconds. We're talking about the measures of angles here, but there are similarities to how time is measured. Again, the symbol for minutes is just 1 tick mark, but the symbol for seconds is actually 2 tick marks, so there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Again, in our concept drawing over here, let's assume that this is the measure of an angle that is only 1 minute, so it's a very tiny angle. But we could also measure this same angle and say that it's 60 seconds. Since 1 minute and 60 seconds are two ways of measuring the same angle, and they're equivalent to each other, we can say that 1 minute and 60 seconds is a ratio that's equal to 1. But we could also say that 60 seconds and 1 minute create a ratio equal to 1, and one of these well-chosen ones will be used to convert from minutes to seconds or from seconds to minutes. We'll have to make the choice which one is appropriate for the direction that we're converting. So let's look at an example. We have an angle that is given to us in degree, minute, second notation. And we're asked to convert this into decimal form. So we know we have 45 degrees, but we're now going to add some fraction of a degree in decimal form to that. So we'll need to convert 10 minutes to degrees, and also 15 seconds needs to be converted to degrees. Let's start with 10 minutes. For conversions, I'm a big fan of dropping a 1 under whatever it is that I'm about to convert, because the well-chosen ones that we multiply by will also be in fraction form. Now we need to decide which well-chosen one is going to help us convert from minutes to degrees. Again, decimal form is going to be taking the minutes and the seconds and converting them to a fraction of a degree. So our well-chosen one is going to have the units that we want to cancel out, which is minutes, in the bottom, and the units that we want to convert to in the top. So we've got minutes in the bottom and degrees in the top. Now we just need to populate this with the correct numbers that make this ratio equal to 1, and we'll say that there are 60 minutes in 1 degree. And now we multiply to convert. The minute units is going to cancel out. 10 divides evenly into 60, leaving a factor of 6 that remains. So we have 1 over 6, and our units are degrees, 1/6 of a degree. If we put this into our calculator, we see that that has a decimal quantity that is 0.16 repeating. But before we put this onto our 45 degrees, let's go ahead and see what 15 seconds converts to. Again, we're going to multiply this by a well-chosen one. We're going to choose the units that we want to cancel out to be in the denominator, and the units that we want to convert to be in the numerator. Now, we didn't declare how many seconds were in a degree. It's not hard to figure out, but let's actually go through minutes first, right? We do know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, and then we can continue to convert to say that now we want our minutes to cancel out and to land us in degrees. So we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 degree. So this time we've got a conversion chain. We went from seconds to minutes and then from minutes to degrees. So when we multiply everything together here, the seconds are going to cancel out, the minutes are going to cancel out, and the remaining units are going to be degrees in the top. 15 is a factor of 60. 15 goes into 64 times. So let's cancel that and then multiply through. In the numerator here, we'll just have 1. And in the denominator, we have 4 times 60, which is 240. And again, the remaining units are degrees. And if we were to put this fraction in our calculator, we see that it's 0.00416 repeating again. And I'm actually going to use the fraction version of our angles to say that now we have 45 degrees plus 1/6 of a degree plus 1 over 240th degrees. And then we'll add all this up. So on our calculator, we'll say 45 plus, I'm going to go alpha and then get my fraction here. So alpha fraction, or however you want to put 1/6 into your calculator. And to that, we're going to add another fraction, that is 1 over 240, to get a decimal that is 45.17. So this angle in decimal degree notation would be 45.17. It says to round our answer to 4 decimal places, so we'll say 1708 degrees. We can check this answer in our calculator. Notice that there is an operator angle above the apps button on your calculator. And if we select that second angle function here, we see the degree symbol, we see the minute symbol. There's no second symbol here in the list, but there is the measure seconds here on the keypad or just above the plus sign in green, meaning that we would need to select alpha in order to access that. So to check our answer, we'd want to put the original version of our angle into the calculator in degree, minute, second notation. So we'll say 45. To get the degree symbol, we've got to go second angle and then select number 1 to get degrees. Then we'll say 10 minutes, and again, minutes is located under angle. So we come down to function 2 and hit enter to get the minutes. And then to put in 15 seconds, remember seconds is not in the list, but it is down here above the plus sign, so to access this, we'll hit alpha and then seconds. Now to go from degree, minute, seconds to decimal degree, we just hit enter and it automatically converts it. And notice that what we got a moment ago by hand is the same as what our calculator gave us, so our answer is correct. Let's do one more example, but this time in the opposite direction. We want to convert from decimal degree notation to degree, minute, second notation. But really, all we're needing to convert is the fraction of a degree. We know how many whole degrees there are. There are 12 whole degrees. But what we need to know is how many minutes and seconds this fraction of a degree converts into. So we already know we have 12 degrees, but now we need to convert 0.87 degrees into minutes. We start with minutes, and then if we get a fraction of a minute, we would convert that into seconds. So first we'll go from this fraction of a degree into minutes. And again, we're going to drop a 1 under anything that we're trying to convert, and then multiply by a well-chosen 1. And the one that we choose this time is going to have the degree unit in the denominator, since that's the one we want to cancel out. And what we want to convert to is going to be in the numerator. So we want to convert to minutes, so that goes on top. Now, what are the numbers that are going to make this ratio equal to 1? Well, there's 60 minutes in 1 degree, so we populate the numbers in this direction. Since those two quantities are equal, this is considered to be a well-chosen 1, or a ratio that's equal to 1. So now let's multiply, noticing that the degrees are going to cancel top and bottom. The minutes are going to be the units that remain. Let's now just determine what 0.87 times 60 is by plugging that into our calculator. So we get 52.2. So there are 52 whole minutes, and then this is a fraction of a minute that will convert to seconds. But for right now, let's just say that this converts to 52.2 minutes. So we know we have 12 solid degrees. Now we know we have 52 solid minutes, so we'll add on the 52 minutes. And the next thing that we're going to need to do is to convert this fraction of a minute, 0.2 minutes, into seconds. So we'll just work with 0.2 minutes, We'll drop a 1 underneath that and multiply it by a well-chosen 1. We want the minutes to cancel out, and we want to convert to seconds, so we put minutes in the denominator and seconds in the numerator. Then we fill it in with the correct numbers that make this ratio equal to 1. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So now we multiply. We see that the minutes cancel out. Seconds are going to be the units that remain. And we'll go over to our calculator to multiply. 0.2 times 60 multiplies together to give us 12. And again, this is 12 seconds. So now we know that we have 12 degrees, 52 minutes, and 12 seconds. So this is what we've come up with as the degree, minute, second notation for a 12.87 degree angle. Now to use our calculator to convert in this direction, we input the angle 12.87, and when we go over to the angle menu by hitting second angle right here, we actually don't have to put the degree symbol on it. We can just take this decimal and convert it into DMS, or degree, minute, second notation, and the calculator understands that the original thing that we had put in must have been in degree notation. So when we hit enter, we can see that our answer of 12 degrees, 52 minutes, and 12 seconds is actually correct.